Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Floyd with the Turf Toe Show. And normally on Wednesdays, I usually talk about all the different news and rumors that go along with the Alliance American football. Well, today, instead of doing that, I wanted to talk about, how I feel the way the league is going now that we're at the halfway mark. Because we already have 5 weeks of games. We're about to go into the back half of the season. The playoffs are about to kick off. We got the championship game. And we got, different competitors for the league about to come up. So I figured I would take this time just to say, how I feel, how the league is doing, where I think it's going to go. I've been paying attention to this league since they announced it back in last year and how it's going to kick off. I've been following through the draft and all this little stuff. So I just figured I would just take this time just to say my thoughts on the league. So it's probably going to be a little rambling just a little bit, but I just felt like just doing something different today. So the first thing I wanted to mention was the competition is finally starting to kick in. We're starting to see all these teams slowly finding their roles and they run this type of offense, they run this type of defense. We're starting to see which coaches actually know how to coach. You see the head ball coach in Orlando, Steve Spurrier, actually just balling out on these dudes left and right. You got, Mike Martz out there in the West Coast. You got Rick Neuheisel, these guys who are offensive geniuses, implementing those NFL style playbooks or high flying college playbooks in this league. And we're also seeing the defensive, the defensive minded coaches, the Singletaries, the Tim Lewises, how their teams have melded behind the type of head coach that they are. And you can see the deficiencies and stuff like that. So it's pretty interesting to see how much of the teams are taking the personalities of their head coaches, their GMs. It'll be interesting to see next year who all is going to be still sticking around. I do think that the coaches that we have in this league should stick around. I hope nobody is let go that quickly. I would like to see some more hires to come in to help them shore up their weak spots, kind of like what Atlanta did. Atlanta, they had all that drama with, they lost their head coach right beginning before the season had started. They lost the offensive coordinator. They lost the second coordinator 2 days before a game started. Well, they finally brought in Kevin Stampese, and he's completely revamped the Atlanta Legends. Atlanta Legends are, won 2 games back to back. I mean, if they would have had that the structure from Kevin Stampese from the beginning of the season, along with Aaron Murray starting, they could probably be technically competing with the Atlanta Legends, not the Atlanta, but the Orlando Apollos right now for the top seed in the Eastern Conference. So it's pretty interesting to see. So I want to see what Birmingham's going to do. I want to see what Memphis Express are going to do, because those are more defensive oriented teams. They're not known for their offensive powers yet. I mean, Memphis has Zach Menberger right now, who's still trying to get used to that, being that starting role again. But especially Birmingham, when the Birmingham team got announced, the whole thing they kept touting was, Trent Richardson, the run game, this and that, where everybody knew hey, we stopped the run game, but they're not going to beat us. So they had that nice little 3-game streak. But once everybody figured out how to slow down that run game and force the QBs to actually throw the ball, it slowed down it. So I do want to see what changes the coaches are going to make to their staffs, how their playbooks, and just to make the systems run a little bit better. Another thing that I think will be kind of interesting to see is how they're going to do with the player allocation. So the way the league works is players can be allocated to teams in 3 different regions, 3 different sections. You got the NFL teams that they played for. So say the San Antonio Commanders, if they play for the Dallas Cowboys, they can be allocated to the San Antonio Commanders, and they get first dibs on that player. Same thing with colleges, and then and it goes down this line of succession, and then anybody can go after. It was kind of confusing for new fans, well, pretty much all fans coming in that didn't really pay attention to the league from the jump, trying to figure out why is Trent Richardson allocated to the Birmingham Iron? Why couldn't such and such pick him up? Or why is there so many Packers players on this particular team? So I'm wondering if the league itself, especially with the popularity going up, if they're going to institute an actual draft, just hey, get a pool of players and actually, a 2-day span, and allow these teams to actually go out there and draft what they need. And instead of, I understand they did it the protect the pick quarterback draft. It was kind of different. I mean, it was I don't know. It's weird because a lot of those quarterbacks that got picked in their draft are not even playing right now. I mean, Josh Johnson, he was with the San Diego Fleet. He's playing for the Redskins. Well, I don't know if he's gonna play for the Redskins now. They just picked up another quarterback out there. I think if I were the Lions, I would move away from that, go to more traditional draft, and allow these teams to actually pick the players that they need, and give them a draft board and give them an actual pool of players. Don't get rid of the ones that you have already, but the ones that are free agents or just floating around there are just trying to come in, that you could backfill these spots. So say like the Memphis Express, or let's go to Birmingham Iron again. Birmingham Iron have a really stout defense. They need more offensive power out there. So maybe they're like, okay, there's a quarterback that's out there that's more of a pocket passer, and we'll pick him up. And then so we got him. So let's shore up our offensive line because we know our defense is good. So because they had a lot of injuries on that offensive line. So let's bring these guys in that are available, that are not on like an NFL roster at this moment or on an NFL practice squad, and move from there. I think the fans will be able to follow that a little bit better and actually be able to grasp what these teams are doing. Plus, it will give more incentive to keep these guys from going to a competitive league, a competitor league that's about to start up in the spring as well. Because the XFL right now hasn't stated exactly how if they're gonna have like a draft or anything yet. They're still working out all that little stuff, but it will still be kind of cool to see. Now I know online there's like this big thing talking about how there needs to be expansion teams going northbound. I made I think a video maybe like a couple weeks ago talking about this, but at this moment right now, after 5 weeks in, I don't think they need to have any expansion teams, to be honest with you. I honestly think that they should just keep the 8 teams that they have. Maybe 2-3 years, just having these teams actually solidifying, having a working league, and like how with the TV deals, with the cameras and like all that stuff, like all the little technical, little tiny issues that you have, work all those kinks out and then slowly start bringing these other teams in. I think expanding too quickly will kind of spread out the fan base too much, and it'll also cause more confusion than there is. I mean, yes, there's a lot of players like around, but I don't think adding 2 or 4 more teams to this league is going to do any better. It'll make the league bigger. I mean, it'll possibly might be able to. You won't have to play so many teams back to back. Like I think the Commanders are playing like the San Diego Fleet like 3 times this season. So you won't be seeing the same teams playing each other over and over again, but having these teams playing like in the Western Conference, like having the Commanders playing the Fleet multiple times, the stakes will be a little bit higher because there's only 2 teams from the West that's going to make it to the playoffs. So it'll be kind of interesting to see that in that aspect, but I don't think right now at this moment that adding extra teams will actually do the league any good. They need to just focus on the cities that they have, try to grow that organic reach that way, build their social medias out, and actually bring the fans in. And then maybe 2-3 years down the line, now that when people realize what kind of product you have on the field, then you can expand. So then you can go to like the St. Louis's, the Green Bays, like the areas, or you got to find an area with a dome if you're gonna play in the spring in the Green Bay. You can't play in that frozen tundra without one. I think if you try to grow too quickly, it'll just cause you to fail faster. I know one video I was talking about like with the new guy that's in Dundon. They're talking about possibly moving teams to the Raleigh, North Carolina. I mentioned the Express. Well, maybe that's not a good idea. Maybe just have him separate away from that. Allow the Express to actually, because it seems like the Memphis city actually loves having that team there. They actually, like, if you see them online all the time talking about the team and how they represent the colors, and you see like the team president always doing little stuff in the community and everything like that. So I would keep the teams there. I would, once again, allow these teams to draft who they need instead of just latching onto a big name and not actually do anything with them. Like kind of like what Atlanta did with Aaron Murray. They touted Aaron Murray as going to be the starting quarterback. He was a guy from UGA. He was the big time dude in Atlanta, and he didn't even play for like the first couple weeks. So he finally got in there, took over, and now you got the Atlanta fans like just swarming in there now. So I think that they need to actually double down on that, actually finding these players, bringing in these names that people know, and actually getting them to play. Because I know like with the Salt Lake Stallions, they kept talking about Matt Asiata. You know how he took over Adrian Peterson with the Vikings when Adrian Peterson was going through all his legal trouble. Well, Asiata really hasn't done anything. The couple guys that have done something that I've been really pleasantly surprised is Zach Stacy and Younghoe Koo. Zach Stacy's a running back for the Memphis Express. This dude is just dominating right now. As of right now, Zach Stacy as of week 5 has 75 rushing attempts, 273 yards, 3.6 average, 3 TDs. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I mean, the second guy on that team is Terrence McGee with 23 attempts, 81 yards, 0 TDs. And I mean, if there's going to be any players that are going to be brought up from the Alliance American Football that's not a quarterback back to the NFL, Zach Stacy's definitely going to be one of them. On the other hand, Younghoe Koo, I mean, I remember when he was kicking for the Chargers and it was like this big thing because he was an Asian American kicker. and he was like, breaking all these barriers and whatnot. And then that at that time, it didn't really pan out for him. But the dude's been automatic since he's been in the Alliance. I mean, he's like one of those guys that's actually taking advantage of those second chances that he has. If I'm not mistaken, he hasn't missed a field goal yet. He has scored 11 of them, and he's just automatic for them. He's legitimately, for the first 3 weeks, was scoring all their points. So guys like Younghoe Koo and Zach Stacy, they're actually legitimately using this league as a second chance to get back into the NFL. I do think the other guys are doing it as well, but these guys are starting to show out. I mean, yeah, you got your Garrett Gilberts for Orlando, I mean, just balling out. You got your guys like the running backs for the San Diego Fleet balling out, but as of right now, there's not really a bunch of big names, because I know Luis Perez was one big name that everybody was like, he was showing out, but then once these teams figured him out, they shut him down. And I remember like there was this whole bunch of articles going around how there's a bunch of teams looking at him, possibly going to bring him in to go sit on a practice squad. No, my bad, it wasn't Luis Perez, it was Wolford. And they were like, oh, he's going to be, they're going to bring him in, that he could possibly, play for the NFL. But he's like, no, I'm going to stay here in the Alliance of American Football and then just get tape on me. Well, the past couple of weeks, he hasn't really done as well. So I think by having an actual 10-week season will actually give these teams a bigger data set, and then instead of just, recency bias. I mean, because if you look at the rushing leaders right now, Kenneth Farrow, he's leading with 305 yards. Then Jaquan Gardner for the Fleet, 290, Jarrell Presley, 286, and then Zach Stacy, 273. The only person that's consistently been doing it is Zach Stacy and Dearness Johnson for the Orlando Apollos with 251. Jaquan Gardner has like spurt games. He'll, bust out for 80 yards here, 90 yards there. But steadily doing it is Zach Stacy and Dearness Johnson. So and like Rashad Ross for the receiving yards, he has 401 yards. Charles Johnson's leading 493 for Orlando Apollos. It's just the Alliance has to do, in my opinion, because I know I'm bouncing around on it, but I'm just trying to get the thought out there. Before they go expand, before they bring more teams in, they should allow these coaches, these GMs, to look at the people that's on their team. It's like, let's say Rashad Ross for receiving yards. Let's build around what the core that we have if we know this particular person is not going to go up to the league anytime soon. It's like, yeah, this guy's showing out now and it might look good in the NFL, but we've seen with the recent trades and everything that's been going on that some of these guys won't even make these rosters, to be honest with you. And then they're going to have a whole swath of new guys about to come down. Because I heard rumors, somebody started a rumor the other day that Blake Bortles was probably coming to the Lions. Nathan Peterman. Well, hell, I mean, or you got the Johnny Manziels. I mean, you should have, instead of automatically allocating Johnny Manziel to the Commanders, or to, I want to say, maybe the Commanders or the Iron, the two teams that he'll be allocated to. If neither one of those teams want him, then the other teams can reach out and grab him. But hey, why not just have an actual draft? Allow people to watch this draft. If I don't know who really watches the draft, but if they want to watch the draft, then you can build these teams out, and then we can have legitimate, let them get what they need, essentially. Instead of being like, oh, you can only get Alabama players, Birmingham. I just keep coming to that back to point. They need to have a draft. I mean, I understand the protector pick thing is a new concept, but it doesn't make sense in my mind for going forward. So pretty much as of week 5, I'm loving this league. I love the direction it's going. The fact that it had a little controversy in the beginning, that's going to happen. A lot of people are going to hate on the new product. They don't understand it. They don't understand why we need more football in the spring. Why do we want to see these guys in a minor league system? Is whatever. Allow them to just try it. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to hurt anything. If it fails, it fails. But as of right now, I think they're doing a really good job. It's getting TV deals. The fans are slowly getting interested in it. If they can get a bigger social media presence, I think it'll do a better reach. So I'm excited to see how this next 5 weeks are going to go. I'm excited to see how the playoffs and the championship game is going to go. And I'm really excited to see what they're going to do in the offseason. So hopefully they keep they keep contact with the fans on the social media and keep us in the loop instead of just dropping stuff on us. Just hey, this is the roadmap that we're going. This is how we're trying to build it up. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. I understand it was a long video and I was rambling a little bit, but if you like this video, hit like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.